Modern life is a war zone, not of bullets and bombs, but of distractions, anxiety, overreactions, and invisible stress. We are bombarded every day by 1,000 little things trying to shake us, provoke us, steal our peace. And most days, they win. A glance, a comment, a delay, an expectation unmet. It doesn't take much to throw us off balance, but what if it didn't have to be this way? The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, knew this all too well. Life has always been unpredictable. People have always been difficult. Loss, insult, chaos, they're nothing new, and yet they taught and lived a better way. The way of stillness, detachment, and control, not of the world, but of oneself. This video is a map, a survival manual for the emotional battlefield. 10 ideas that don't just sound nice, they work. If applied, they will harden your mind, sharpen your soul, and make you unshakable in the face of whatever life throws at you. Think of it this way. Every time you overreact, worry about the future, cling to what's fading, or act on impulse, you bleed energy, clarity, and purpose. This video shows you how to stop that bleeding. So stay with me until the end. Watch it all. Then tell me in the comments, which of these lessons spoke directly to you? Which one will you start practicing today? And if this message resonates, subscribe, share it, and become part of something bigger than just watching another video. Become the kind of person who cannot be disturbed. Number 1. Turn every obstacle into a stepping stone. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. What if I told you that the problem you're facing right now, the one that keeps you up at night, might actually be the solution you've been looking for? A few months ago, I was sitting alone at a coffee shop near the beach, trying to salvage what was left of a terrible morning. My flight had been delayed. My laptop had crashed, and to top it off, I had just received a blunt email from a client that could easily derail a project I'd spent 3 months building. I was fuming inside, frustrated, stuck. That's when Linda, a barista I'd seen a few times but never spoken to, walked by with a smile and said, "Rough day?" I nodded, half laughing, and she replied, "Coffee's on the house. I've seen a lot of people walk in here looking like the world's ending. Most of them walk out better. You'll be fine too." That small moment didn't fix my situation, but it made me pause, reflect, and in that pause something shifted. I took a walk along the shore after that, and I remembered the words of Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. I realized that this delay, this disruption, was actually buying me time to think, to reset, to reevaluate. The client's criticism, maybe it wasn't an attack, maybe it was a gift. A chance to improve what I had overlooked. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. Life is not meant to be smooth. It's meant to sharpen you. Your job is not to wish the storm away, it's to learn how to sail through it. The Stoics didn't just endure hardship, they used it. They saw pain as a forge, delay as a teacher, disappointment as a mirror. They didn't whine, blame, or escape. They leaned in. And that's the shift you must make. Starting now. That email? Use it to refine your pitch. That argument? Use it to reflect on how you communicate. That rejection? Let it fuel your next move. Every obstacle you face is a stone in your path. But you choose. Does it trip you, or do you step on it and rise higher? Think of it like this. You are climbing a mountain, and every problem is just another jagged rock. Step carefully, step wisely, but keep stepping. Because the summit is not for those who wait for a clear road. It's for those who learn to climb through the mess. Here's the takeaway. Don't run from resistance. Don't collapse under pressure. Use what's in front of you. Ask yourself right now, what's the thing that's most frustrating in my life? Then ask, how can I make this useful? What is this teaching me? Because the truth is, the greatest version of yourself is forged not in peace, but in pressure. Not in the absence of obstacles, but in the mastery of them. And if you practice this, turning every difficulty into discipline, you will become someone who cannot be disturbed. Not because life is easy, but because you are unshakable. Number 2. Stop worrying about things that only exist in your mind. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca. Why do we spend so much of our lives battling problems that never even happened? I remember one afternoon at the hospital cafeteria. My younger brother had gone in for a routine checkup, And I was sitting there waiting, sipping lukewarm coffee, obsessing over worst-case scenarios. What if they find something serious? What if it's cancer? What if he doesn't tell me the truth? 30 minutes passed, 40. I had already imagined the entire conversation with the doctor, the silent car ride home, even his funeral. I'm not exaggerating. I had practically rehearsed grief. Then he walked out, smiling. Clean bill of health. Nothing to worry about. I laughed. Then I felt ashamed. Because while he was fine, I had just spent an hour suffering for no reason. This is what Seneca meant. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Your mind becomes a haunted house when you don't train it. Every creak is a threat. Every silence is a trap. But none of it is real. The Stoics were clear. Fear is a liar. And anxiety is often a misuse of imagination. Think about how often you've played out scenarios in your head. What they'll say, how they'll react, how you'll be embarrassed, judged, rejected. You tighten your chest, shorten your breath, lose sleep. For something that hasn't even occurred. That's not awareness. That's self-harm. And here's the kicker. When the moment does come, it's almost never as bad as you feared. The Stoic response is simple but powerful. Focus on what is, not what might be. So how do we act on this? When your mind spins a worst-case scenario, pause and ask, is this happening right now, or am I inventing it? When anxiety creeps in, bring your attention to the present moment. Your breath, your surroundings, your senses. When you're imagining disaster, shift to preparing calmly or doing something useful with your hands. Worry is like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere. It's mental noise, static. And if you let it, it will drown out clarity, peace, joy, even relationships. And here's the metaphor I want you to remember. Your thoughts are clouds. They pass. You are the sky, unmoved, unchanging, still. Don't chase the clouds. Don't try to predict their shape. Just observe them. Let them pass. I walked out of that hospital with a clearer mind that day. Not just because my brother was okay, but because I saw the mental prison I had built for myself. And I decided it was time to tear it down. So today I ask you, what are you worrying about right now that only exists in your head? Let it go. Focus on what's real. What's here? What's now? Because clarity begins where unnecessary worry ends. Number 3. Accept that everything changes. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Marcus Aurelius. Why do we keep acting like the good things in life will last forever? It was a Tuesday, unremarkable, breezy, the kind of day you think you'll have 1,000 more of. I was at the park with my father. We were sitting on a worn wooden bench watching kids play, sipping cold drinks and arguing, as we often did, about politics, about soccer, about the cost of gas. Nothing special. But if I had known it was the last normal afternoon we'd ever have, I would have stayed longer. 2 weeks later, he suffered a mild stroke. He recovered, thankfully, but the version of him I knew, the sharp-witted, fast-talking, energetic man, faded a little. And just like that, life shifted. That day in the park, it became sacred, precious, untouchable. Here's the truth the Stoics never shied away from. Everything you love, everything you depend on, will change, will fade, or will disappear. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. You can't hold on to summer, or youth, or people, or status. Trying to is like trying to grip water. The tighter you hold, the faster it slips through your fingers. Marcus Aurelius wrote constantly about impermanence, not out of fear, but out of reverence. He knew that accepting change wasn't weakness, it was freedom. When you accept that everything is temporary, 2 things happen. 1, you stop clinging. 2, you start appreciating. You stop getting angry when things change, and instead, you become curious about what's next. You stop panicking when a chapter closes, and start writing the next one with intention. The cherry blossoms bloom and fall. The tide comes in and out. That's nature, and you are not separate from it. You are nature. To resist change is to resist life itself. Here's a metaphor to hold on to. Life is a river, not a photograph. You don't get to freeze it. You don't get to replay the best parts. You only get to be present while it flows and swim with it, not against it. So what can you do today? Say thank you to someone, to something, even if you know it won't last. Let go of resentment toward a phase of life that has ended. Be fully present in the small, fleeting moments, because they are the point. The Stoics didn't run from impermanence. They built their peace on it. So ask yourself now, what are you clinging to that is already slipping away? And what beauty might you discover if you learn to let go and flow with life instead? Accept that everything changes, and you'll stop fearing the fall. You'll start dancing with it. Number 4. Let go of what you cannot control. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Epictetus. How much of your stress today came from something completely outside your control? Last Sunday, I was at the airport. You know, one of those oversaturated, overstimulated places where patience goes to die. My flight was delayed for the 3rd time. I was slouched at gate C14, half asleep, half annoyed, scrolling mindlessly through news I couldn't do anything about and emails I didn't want to answer. Next to me, a woman, maybe in her late 40s, was on the phone with what sounded like her teenage son. Her voice was calm, steady. She was clearly missing something important. Maybe a recital, a dinner, maybe just time with her kid. But her tone didn't betray the chaos around us. She said one line I'll never forget. I can't make the plane move faster, but I can still be present when I get there. That hit me, because I was doing the opposite, trying to mentally drag the plane forward with my frustration, as if being upset could rewrite reality. Epictetus, the great Stoic teacher, laid it out centuries ago. There are 2 buckets in life, what you can control and what you can't. One is yours, the other is not. One deserves your energy, the other your acceptance. But most of us live upside down, obsessing over other people's actions, the economy, the weather, the past, and ignoring what we can actually change. Our attitude, our choices, our effort. The more you try to control the uncontrollable, the more it controls you. It's like trying to hold the wind in your hands. You just end up tired and empty. Let me give you something simple to practice. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, breathe, let go, move on. That delay in your flight? Not in your control. The rude coworker? Not in your control. The diagnosis, the decision, the outcome? Often not in your control. But how you respond to all of it, that's always yours. And here's the metaphor to anchor this truth. You are the captain of the ship, not the sea. You don't command the storms, you steer your way through them. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means refusing to be a slave to chaos. It means protecting your peace like it's sacred, because it is. The woman at the airport reminded me of something the Stoics lived by. Calm is not a luxury, it's a discipline. And peace is not found in perfect conditions. It's built from clarity and surrender. So I'll ask you this. What are you clinging to right now that's out of your hands? And what would it feel like to finally, truly let it go? Number 5. Reflect daily to grow and stay grounded. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. How do you expect to grow if you never pause to ask yourself where you went wrong? A few years ago, I ran into an old friend, Jason, at a bookstore. He used to be this explosive, reactive guy, always in arguments, always certain he was right. But that day, he was different. Calm, steady. There was a lightness in his presence I hadn't seen before. We caught up over coffee, and I asked him straight out, "What changed?" He smiled, pulled out a battered leather notebook and said, "I started writing it all down, every night. The good, the bad, the embarrassing. I look at my own life like a coach watches game tape. Brutally honest, not to judge, to improve." That sentence stayed with me. To look at your own life like a coach watches game tape. That's the essence of Stoic reflection. It's not passive. It's not about wallowing in regret. It's strategic self-awareness, a daily audit of the soul. Marcus Aurelius did it. Every night in meditations, he wrote not for others, but to himself. He asked, what did I do well today? Where did I fall short? Where did ego creep in? Where did fear win? And then, most importantly, how can I do better tomorrow? Here's the thing. Life moves fast, and if you don't stop to reflect, you'll repeat the same mistakes wearing different clothes. You'll wake up 10 years later with the same patterns, same reactions, same regrets. Reflection is the compass that keeps you from drifting. So how do you make it real? Set aside 10 minutes before bed. No screens, no distractions. Ask yourself 3 simple questions. 1. What did I do today that I'm proud of? 2. What did I do today that I regret? 3. What can I improve tomorrow? Write it down, even just a few lines. Let the page hold your truth so your mind doesn't have to. And remember this, the mirror doesn't lie, but you have to be brave enough to look. Think of it like a lighthouse. Your journal, your thoughts, your reflections, casting light on dark waters so you don't crash into the same rocks again. You don't need to be perfect, but you need to be honest. Every day is a battle against distraction, impulse, ego. If you don't debrief, you don't grow. If you don't question your actions will control you. Jason's life didn't change overnight, but through one small habit, showing up to himself every single evening, he became a man who no longer ran from his flaws but faced them head on. And that's the kind of strength no one can take from you. So ask yourself tonight, what did I learn today? Where did I stumble? What will I do better tomorrow? Because awareness is the first step toward mastery, and reflection is the ground beneath your feet. It keeps you rooted, even when the world shakes. Number 6. Train your soul to stay calm amid chaos. If you are disturbed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. How do you keep your center when the world keeps spinning faster? 2 weeks ago, I was at a crowded shopping mall. Screaming kids, lines stretching around corners, a man shouting into his phone about a late delivery. The kind of environment that drains your patience in minutes. In front of me in the checkout line, a young mother was juggling 2 toddlers and a cart full of groceries. One kid dropped a jar. It shattered. The other began wailing. People stared. The cashier sighed loudly. But the mother, she didn't flinch. She calmly knelt down, picked up her crying child, smiled and said softly, "It's okay. We'll clean it up." Everyone makes mistakes. No frustration. No panic. Just calm. I stood there stunned, because in that moment, she wasn't just a parent, she was a master of herself. The Stoics believe that the true mark of strength isn't power or speed or intellect. It's tranquility in the face of disorder, to keep your soul still while the world around you shakes. We think calm is something you're born with, but it's not. It's something you train. Every time you resist the urge to snap, you train. Every time you choose breath over anger, you train. Every time you hold your tongue when provoked, you train. It's like building a muscle, invisible but invaluable. And you need that muscle now more than ever. Because let's face it, the world isn't getting quieter. It's getting louder, faster, more demanding. Your peace must come from within, or it won't come at all. Here's a metaphor for you. You are the mountain. Everything else is weather. Wind, rain, storms, they come and go. But the mountain stands. You don't control the storm. You don't need to. You just stand, steady, still, grounded in who you are. So how do you build this kind of calm? Start your mornings with stillness. Even 5 minutes of silence or breathwork can change how you enter the day. When chaos hits, pause. One breath, one moment. Buy yourself a window between stimulus and response. Practice detachment. Remind yourself, this is outside me. I choose how I respond. You don't need to react to every inconvenience. You don't need to internalize every chaos. Calm is a choice, and it's always available. The young mother at the mall wasn't born with it. She built it, moment by moment, day by day, mistake by mistake. So can you. Today, the world may test you. A driver will cut you off, a deadline will shift, a friend may say something careless. Don't let it shake your soul. Stay calm, stay still, be the mountain. Number 7. Build unshakable strength through struggles. Difficulties show what men are. Epictetus. Why do we keep wishing for an easy life when all growth comes from doing hard things? I once knew a guy named Tom. He was one of those people who had it all on paper. Good job, nice house, plenty of charm. But when life hit, when his marriage ended and his business took a hit, he crumbled. Not because the problems were too big, but because he had never trained himself to face adversity. Contrast that with Maria, my neighbor, a retired nurse in her 60s. She lost her husband, fought cancer twice, and raised 3 kids while working night shifts. And yet, every time I see her, she smiles. Not a forced, fake kind of smile, but one that comes from someone who's been through the storm and knows she can survive it again. That's what struggle gives you. Proof. Proof that you're stronger than you thought. That you've bled and bent and still didn't break. The Stoics didn't pray for ease, they embraced hardship as fuel. Marcus Aurelius didn't wish away pain, he studied it. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Because strength isn't given, it's earned. Through resistance, through discomfort, through trials. Think of it this way. A tree that grows in calm weather develops shallow roots, but a tree that faces storms, it digs deep, it holds, it lasts. So the next time life hits you hard, don't ask why me, ask what is this trying to teach me? When the relationship ends, when the job disappears, when the diagnosis comes, you have two choices. 1, collapse. 2, get carved into something stronger. Pain refines you. It strips away ego. It forces you to become real and tough and grounded. Here's what you can do, starting today. Stop running from hard things. Choose the harder conversation, the earlier morning, the heavier lift, on purpose. Treat adversity like a teacher. What did this failure show you? What can you do better next time? Build small wins, cold showers, hard workouts, saying no when it's uncomfortable. All of it counts. All of it adds up. Remember, you are not fragile. You've been lied to by comfort, by convenience, by modern noise. You were built to endure, to overcome, to emerge unshakable. So ask yourself right now, what struggle in your life can you stop resenting and start using? Because inside every difficulty is a doorway. And on the other side of that door is the stronger version of you. All you have to do is walk through it. Number 8. Stop making yourself miserable over small things. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things. Epictetus. Have you ever ruined an entire day over something that, looking back, didn't matter? Last Saturday, I was at a local food truck market. Great weather, good music, people laughing everywhere. I ordered a burger, waited 20 minutes, only to discover they'd given me the wrong order. Something I didn't even like. I was annoyed. No, scratch that. I was irrationally furious. I spent the next hour sulking, snapping at a friend, scrolling my phone with that blank, brooding stare over a sandwich. At one point, I caught a glimpse of myself in a reflective window and thought, is this who you want to be? Miserable over onions? That's the problem. We let the smallest things hijack our peace. A slow driver, a rude barista, a typo in an email, someone not texting back fast enough. Tiny moments, but they burrow into our minds like splinters and infect the whole day. The Stoics warned us about this. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to us, but how we interpret what happens that causes our suffering. In other words, the pain isn't in the thing. The pain is in our reaction to the thing. You weren't hurt by the wrong coffee. You were hurt because you told yourself a story. They're incompetent. They disrespected me. This always happens to me. You made a flea bite feel like a lion attack. And here's the deeper danger. If you don't learn to stop sweating the small stuff will become your whole life. So here's what you can do. When something minor bothers you, ask, will this still matter in 5 hours? In 5 days? In 5 years? Pause. Breathe. Give the moment space before you respond. Practice mental minimalism. Don't carry what you don't need. Let the comment go. Let the driver pass. Let the typo live. Think of your peace like a pristine room. Every irritation you hold on to, it's like dragging mud across the floor. And most of the time, you're the one tracking it in. Here's a metaphor that might help. You are the sky. The annoyances? Just passing birds. Don't chase them. Don't curse them. Let them fly on. Let go. Laugh when you can. Shrug when you must. And protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. So the next time life hands you the wrong sandwich, or the wrong attitude, or the wrong kind of weather, don't give it more power than it deserves. You have better things to feel, better things to build, and a life too valuable to waste on nonsense. Number 9, focus on how you live, not just what you achieve. Don't aim to be successful, aim to be excellent. Seneca. Why are you chasing the goal if the way you're chasing it is destroying who you are? I met Andrew at a startup event a few years back. Bright guy, Ivy League grad, ran a company that was scaling fast, raising millions, but every time we spoke, he looked hollow. Tired eyes, tight jaw, quick to talk, slow to listen. One night, after a few drinks, he confessed, I'm killing myself to build something great, but I hate the person I've become in the process. That sentence stuck with me. Because how many of us are doing the exact same thing? Obsessed with results, blind to process. We measure life in metrics, salary, followers, subscribers, awards, but never pause to ask, who am I becoming in pursuit of all this? The Stoics were crystal clear on this. Virtue is the goal, not glory, not status, not money. How you live, with integrity, courage, humility, discipline. That's what matters. Success is not a finish line. It's not a number. It's the way you show up. Every moment, every interaction, every decision. Think of it this way. Your life is not a resume. It's a sculpture. And every action you take is a chisel stroke, shaping who you are. So if you're cutting corners, compromising your values, treating others like tools just to get ahead, you may end up somewhere, but you won't like who's standing there. What can you do instead? Wake up and ask, what kind of person do I want to be today? Not just, what do I want to get done? Set character goals alongside your work goals. Be patient in meetings. Be honest when it's hard. Be present with loved ones. When the pressure hits, ask, am I proud of how I'm moving through this, or just desperate to win? Because here's the hard truth. If the cost of your success is your peace, your values, or your character, it's not success. It's failure in disguise. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in the world, yet reminded himself daily, just do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. Not win at all costs, not get everything done. Just do the right thing. So ask yourself, what matters more, the trophy on your shelf or the person in your mirror? Because at the end of this life, no one will remember how many emails you sent or how many views you got. They'll remember how you made them feel, how you carried yourself, how you lived. Choose character over clout. Choose presence over performance. Choose the path, not just the prize. Number 10. Let reason lead, not emotion. If you are angry, you are defeated. Marcus Aurelius. How many times have you said or done something in the heat of the moment and regretted it the minute after? Imagine this. You're in traffic. It's late afternoon. The sun's beating down through the windshield. You've got somewhere to be. Maybe you're already behind schedule. Then it happens. That one car, the black SUV, it cuts right in front of you. No signal, no warning, just swerves in as if you don't exist. Your body reacts before your mind does. You grip the wheel, your jaw tightens, your heart rate jumps. You lay on the horn, long, loud, useless. And in that moment, you're not thinking clearly. You're not measured. You're not your best self. You're a storm. But here's the twist. That person in the SUV, they're gone in seconds. You'll never see them again. And yet, they still hold your peace in their rearview mirror. Why? Because you gave it to them. You let a stranger, for a moment of perceived disrespect, own your emotions, your body, your state of mind. Not because they were powerful, but because you didn't pause. Now imagine this instead. The same thing happens. The SUV cuts you off. You feel the heat rise, but you breathe. You stay with it. You tell yourself, this is not about me. This is a test. I control the story I tell myself about this. And just like that, you pass the test. You stay calm. You let them go. And more importantly, you stay with yourself. Because that's what Stoicism teaches. Not to feel nothing, but to respond with everything you've built inside you. Not suppression, but sovereignty. The Stoics knew anger is blinding, fear is paralyzing, impulse is destructive. That's why Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. It's not emotions that are the enemy, it's being ruled by them. They are messengers, not masters. They can inform you, but they shouldn't drive the car. Think of your mind as a fortress. When reason is in charge, the gates are steady, the walls are high. But when emotion storms the tower, you open yourself to chaos, both inside and out. So what can you do? Pause before you react. Even 3 seconds buys you time to choose reason. Ask yourself, what's the wise response here? Not the loudest, not the quickest, the wisest. Practice premeditatio malorum. Imagine the obstacles and insults before they come. That way when they arrive, they don't shake you. You've already rehearsed your calm. Because here's the truth. You will be tested by disrespect, by inconvenience, by failure. And you'll be tempted every time to lash out, to defend, to react. But if you can stay clear, if you can let reason lead, you win. Not in the shallow, ego-driven sense of winning, but in the way that matters most. You stayed in control of yourself. In a world where everyone is quick to take offense, quick to speak, quick to burn bridges, clarity becomes a superpower. So the next time your buttons get pushed by a stranger, by a comment, by a look, don't give them the keys to your peace. Guard your mind, pause, choose your response, because the most powerful person in the room is the one who isn't controlled by emotion. When you train your mind to stay calm, to reflect, to let go, and to stand strong through struggle, you stop reacting and start living. Life becomes clearer, lighter, more meaningful. So don't just exist. Live with purpose, with wisdom, with peace. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear which part spoke to you most. And if this video helped you, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and share it with someone you care about. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay grounded, stay free.